Welcome back to 44 on the Town. I'm Veronica. Joining me on set is Gail Hardeman. Gail is going to speak with us about how you can start a new career at the Hardeman School of Court Reporting and Captioning. This is so interesting to me because, you know, being in courts or seeing stenographers and just typing away, I always wonder, how in the world do you develop that skill? And it's something that really is still needed. And you yourself have been a court reporter.
Oh yes, for a long time.
Yes.
Yes, I was an English teacher actually, a high school English teacher, and I heard about court reporting from a friend and I went, oh, that's something I'd do in the summers. And then I took it and I went, oh, I'm addicted. I just heard about the world in court reporting, you know. So I've loved it ever since.
Excellent. And now you've decided to open up your own school, which is something that's really not accessible in Central Florida.
No, they have closed down. Court reporting schools have closed down because there's not a big enrollment, and we think there's not a big enrollment because there's a public perception that Siri is going to take over the world, including the court system, and that's just not so.
For anyone who has ever tried to use voice to text, you know that it's not exactly the most accurate out there.
No, especially not with attorneys speaking 300 words a minute and on top of each other. No, that's just not going to happen.
But we were speaking a little bit before the segment off camera, and this is something that is actually very high demand.
Yes.
And
yes.
people don't know that.
Right. Very much so. You are very busy as a court reporter. Now, of course, it depends on areas of the country that you live in. Some may have more and some have less, but the larger states in the country are going to be short about 5,000 court reporters within 5 years. It's going to be a heck of a demand, not only for court reporting, but for captioning, because the ADA and the FCC have mandated that shows be captioned and meetings be captioned, that there's equal communication access for people who are deaf or hard of hearing. And so that's what we do. We sit there and take our court reporting skills and put them on the air.
Wow, that's excellent. So you offer at your school both court reporting and captioning.
Yes, definitely.
Now, what kind of skill is needed to actually go into this?
Well, you should be fairly good at English.
Okay.
So, you know, be able to recognize a sentence and know where to put a period at the end of the sentence. So given that and a little bit of ability to type, though typing has not much translation to this, oddly enough, piano playing is more akin to court reporting. So if you have a good sense of language and you like hearing what's going on, being in the middle of things, and you actually like the kinetics involved of hearing something and laying it out there, that's what you need. That's the kind of person you need. And then you learn the theory, which is like learning another language, and then you practice it very slowly at first, and then you learn some brief forms like my favorite one is BARP for beg your pardon, or CRONG for correct me if I'm wrong. So that's why you can see a court reporting sitting in court just slowly going like this when they're going very fast, because there are a lot of brief forms.
Excellent. That's so interesting.
Yeah, I love it.
Now, you know, when somebody is thinking about going into a new career or profession, obviously the one thing that they do think about is how much could a court reporter potentially make.
Of course.
But what your school does too is you make sure that because it's a high demand field, people can kind of get into the field and make money right away and not really be in debt, correct?
Well, that's my goal, yes. Students, I'm hearing of tuitions, and you can see them on websites, tuitions ranging in the range of $15,000 to $20,000 a year, and they are taking 5 years to graduate. So it's just, they're graduating with horrible loans, and there's no reason to take 5 years unless you just like going to school and accumulating debt. I mean, there's no reason. So I've been a teacher first. I had a school in the 1970s that graduated 85% of its enrollees, and it was very successful. A lot of court reporters in Tampa, Florida went to my school. I think that my colleagues are really happy that I'm opening another school. This is my second school, and of course the other one was 30 years ago, but we're really, really happy to be opening this school to offer court reporting and captioning.
Excellent. So if someone is actually interested in enrolling, when do you have enrollment? How can people get information?
Oh, okay. Our first class is going to be in January, so okay. January 4th we're going to open, so just call us, go on the website, and we'll send you all the admission papers, and the tuition is $360 a month.
That's actually very affordable.
It's very affordable for the first year, and at the end of the first year, you graduate learning how to be a transcriptionist, a proofreader, and a scopist. And a scopist is someone who takes court reporter's notes at the end of the day and makes it into that perfect transcript. So the court reporter can go back into court the next day and not have to stay up all night producing a transcript.
Wow, this is really very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing all this information because,
Sure.
again, you see these shows or you go into a court yourself and you see the stenographers there, and I've always been fascinated at how that works. And it's really great to know that that's actually a field that one can get into with some practice and that it's high demand.
Absolutely. And one of the really draws for court reporting, and I think it's something that affects everyone, is that you can go around the world and court report. I spent a year in Australia, Sydney, Australia, doing captioning, and it was fabulous. And then came home, did court reporting, and then decided to do remote captioning from home. So a mom can stay home and do captioning while her kids are young, and then when she wants to get out and about, she can go into court reporting and travel, and so it's very flexible.
That is wonderful. It is flexible, it is high demand. Thank you so much, Gail. We really appreciate the information
welcome.
today.
So pleased. Thank you.
We will be back with more 44 on the Town.